We are super excited and thankful that you've agreed to be a beta tester for Statusfi, the Illinois Chiropractic Society's new compliance dashboard. So first of all, we want to say thank you. The next is I want to give you a walkthrough exactly how to navigate through the site and all of those types of things so you can determine exactly what you would want to work on, how the checkboxes work, what features you're seeing, and how to track your progress as you move through and to become more compliant and track your compliance in your practice. First of all, I want to make sure that you know that everything that you're seeing is really specific to you. So this particular one is a test account. You'll see the name is J. Karras. For you, it would be your specific name that you have in our system, whoever, whatever your name might be. So it'll welcome you back each time. And again, is very specific to you. You will notice that you can, at any time, you can log out. So if you click on your name or your little profile picture at this point, you could log out. When you're logging in, make sure that you use the exact same credentials that you use to log in to your Illinois Chiropractic Society membership tab. So if you happen to forget what that is, no problem. Just go back over to ICS, and actually there's a link to get you there if you've forgotten your password inside of the login for Statusfi. You can get your reminder from our primary site there and then utilize it right here for Statusfi. The two marry. It actually authenticates you as a member of the ICS before it lets you in, and then you have full access. You'll see that the access is free, not just during beta testing, but as we roll this out, this is a product that we're going to give to our members at no additional charge. At any time, you can just type into the URL. You'll see it's my.statusfidashboard.com, and that will take you right to the dashboard. If you just go to statusfidashboard.com, it's going to take you to our marketing page that is here, and you'll see that it gives what the features are, what it does for the practices, some tidbits of information, the feature and pricing. Gives people an opportunity to join the ICS in order to get access to Statusfi. So that is how that particular URL system works. So your specific Statusfi dashboard is my.statusfidashboard.com. Now, once you're in, there's a number of things that you're going to find happen immediately. First thing is it's going to ask you, what is your organization type? This is important. Checkboxes and checklist items are specific to your organization type. So make sure that you know, are you a sole proprietorship, partnership, medical corporation, PSC, or AP LLC? Make the appropriate selection. And when you are done, make sure you click Save. Now, you also have to do your county. And now it's a little bit different because Chicago, we're counting differently than Cook County. So if you're in Chicago specifically, make sure that you select that. And this is specific to your practice location. And that will help you. Once you're done, go ahead and click Save. And it will personalize the rest of the system based on that information you provided. If you get stuck and you want some help, no problem. If you just click the Help button, there are a variety of different items here, some FAQs, some checklist items, and we'll have some more how-to-dos in this help section as you and I communicate through this beta testing process. So here's what I would encourage you to do. At any time that you see something that you wish it did, or that you think is a problem, or that you think needs further explanation, please send an email to support@statusfidashboard.com. That's support@statusfidashboard.com. And at that stage, it'll get us the information and we begin to work on it, or we'll give you an answer, or we'll go ahead and put it on our roadmap for future enhancements, because this is what we're calling our minimum viable product. So this is our initial release. We'll have further things that we add to the product as time goes on and as we make more investments into your practice through Statusfi. So at any time, you can also use these top menu selections here. And you'll notice that the overview would take us right back to the main dashboard, as would be if you click directly on the Statusfi logo. After that, we have the HIPAA section, which you can see is the overview to see the HIPAA overview page. HIPAA general, privacy, security, business has its components, federal, state. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. Right now, state, it really doesn't have a whole lot in it. There's a lot of things in here specific to Illinois, but there are some certain things that are state requirements. For example, some mandatory reporting procedures, some sales tax issues, and X-ray compliance and things like that we're going to be adding very soon, possibly even before we actually do our official rollout. So during the beta process, we may roll out some new compliance features as we go that will populate the state with more information. Right now, the state is really tied to the license and the CME. So when you get to the main page, the biggest thing you'll notice is overall compliance is right here. This is how you track your entire suite or portfolio of compliance items that you will want to handle over time. And it tracks your progress. And as you continue to make progress, this particular meter will increase, and you'll see that your practice is becoming more and more in compliance. Now, let's walk through what's on this front page at this stage. First is in the continuing medical education realm. This is all specifically pulled over directly from your ICS, from the ICS website. So as you earn hours from the ICS, as you upload certificates from other organizations where you've earned CME, all of that information is going to pull over and populate. Now, currently, this actually has more than just the current license period. That's why you'll see a lot more hours that have been completed here. At the end of the day, we're actually going to reduce this, and you will see that that your numbers when you get in there will only be for the current renewal period that just began the beginning of this August 1st, 2023. However, all of these links are live. So if you click on Category 1 hours, it's actually going to take you over to our catalog. You can begin to take more Category 1 hours. Same with 2 and the individual mandated courses. It'll take you right to those specific courses. And anytime you can also click here, ICS CME transcript, and it will take you to your ICS login again, to your account under the ICS, show your transcript, and that's where you can add more classes, and you can check out your transcripts to see the actual details as they're being pulled over here into the CME dashboard. After that, then we just start getting into the nitty-gritty, if you will, all of the major components and some minor components of Statusfi, the dashboard, and its metering. You'll see the different visuals that it's going to provide. So we have long graphs here. This is the bar, the slider bar, if you will, of progress. We have smaller meters that show progress. Each one are going to have a percentage tied to them, so you can see a number and graphically see exactly what's happening. We also try to reward. So as things get finished, you'll see the colors begin to change in many cases. So for example, the large charts like this, as you finish, they'll move from red to green, and instead of in progress, it will say completed or in compliance, and kind of a moment of celebration, if you will, to give you that. So, but there's a variety of different meters that we track different things. So for HIPAA compliance, you'll see even on the front page, you can break it down into general, the privacy or security portions. And at any time, the different navigation pieces, if you want to see HIPAA compliance as a whole, you can just click the visit button. Down here, you can click actually under general, privacy, or security to take you right to those particular pages and sections, and they'll take you inside of the HIPAA, if you will, as opposed to the global HIPAA page. We're going to walk through that in just a moment. Now, the major compliance portions, you'll see how those are tracked just on a bar graph, really simple, and you can see the percentage of completion. Those also, again, are direct links. So you can see your overall HIPAA compliance, overall business compliance, overall federal. Much like if you were to do and click on the business overview and federal overview and HIPAA overview above, all of those things will take you to the same spot. So it's just multiple ways of navigation, trying to make it simple for wherever you're at and whatever you'd like to do or however you'd like to interact with Statusfi, you'll be able to do that there. These are just showing the same components as here, just in a different format. And then we get into, you're not sure where to begin. This is one of those areas that kind of helps our doctors get started. So if they're not sure, so we've tried to take some smaller, bite-sized, easier to understand components and provide those in a way that allow you to make progress and feel like you're having some success and get you started. That's how all of this works. So let's go ahead and kind of drill down into some of this, and I'm going to just jump over to HIPAA compliance overall, and you'll see now this brings us to an overall view of all of HIPAA, and you can see the individual components. And These would also match the same meters that we just saw on the previous page. You'll see that 26% and overall compliance are also tracked. So in each one of the overview pages, you'll see it tracks the current compliance for what we're in this case HIPAA, and then where this rolls up to. Okay, let me give you an example of what I mean by that. So if we go to HIPAA privacy, in that major page, you'll see it tells us how we're doing with the HIPAA privacy compliance here, but then it also gives us what are we doing and how are we doing with HIPAA overall. So privacy rolls up into HIPAA overall. So we'll see both of those progresses so you can see as things go. Much like all of the other meters, if you see, you can jump back either through either one of these links to go back to HIPAA overall to see exactly what's going on here. You can also see each of the components broken down. We talked about that, but then you can see each of the pieces within all of these components, and you can drill directly to those specific checklist boxes to be able to make appropriate progress and see how things are going. And again, as you make sure you check through these boxes. Again, this is how we're navigating. This is how we make the progress. So let me give you an example. Let's say we want to work on breach notification. You can come down here and select breach notification at any time. It will directly take you to this section where the breach notification is located. Once you're here, you can begin to work on any one of these components. You'll notice that these two boxes are complete. They're no longer red, they're now green, so you can see that progress. But what you will also see is here. So if we have written policies and procedures are in place that establish how the practice will generate patient notification will occur if a breach occurs. So you establish this policy, you create the written policy, you add it to your HIPAA manual and your compliance book, if you will, right? When that's done, then you check the item off. And you can click anywhere on this checklist item or check the box itself. Now, several things happen as soon as this occurs. One is you'll see that the breach notification increased. If we'd have gone up to the top of the page, you'd have been able to see that both the HIPAA privacy compliance and the HIPAA overall both increased. So this is 41 and 28. So as we complete this, you'll see now 36 and 26. So you'll see that both have increased when we select that we have finished this particular checklist item, as well as the individual box itself. Again, we're celebrating the small things, celebrating each moment. But let's say you were sitting here and you're like, well, I don't know exactly what this means. It's not a problem. We've tried to give guides as well. So each one of the checklist items has a direct link either to specific information that's been created by the Illinois Chiropractic Society or to primary sources, those who are the experts, if you will, HHS, CMS, or whoever it might be to help with those specific sections. It will take you right there to give you the instructions on exactly what you need to do. So for example, this particular link, the breach notification rule, will take you to information directly from HHS. I'll just jump over here. HHS to give you information on HHS and exactly what you need to do and why this is important. This one would actually take you to an ICS article. And then if you want more information on cyber attacks, to understand how that would play in and some steps that you could take when you carve out this policy to make sure it's applicable directly to your practice, then you can select this link here. It'll give you more information. Again, once you're complete, go ahead and click. Other things that happen when you have completed a checklist task is you'll see there are now 2 dates attached. There are no dates attached when it's not checked, and there'll be 2 dates attached when it is checked off. Usually 2. Every once in a while there'll be 1 date. I'll explain that in just a moment. The first date is the date of completion. So today is 8/31/2023. So the first date that appears, the checkbox with a little deal is when it was completed, and that's today. The next is how long is this good for? So the valid until date in this case is 8/30/2024. So it's valid for a period of 1 year. About 60 days before this expires, this will actually turn yellow. And the box will be unchecked. You'll see a little yellow warning sign, and it will tell you that you need to handle this, that you need to work on. A release that we'll make in the software in the near future is going to be where these warnings will actually appear on the front page, probably even send you an email to let you know that there is a new expiration that's coming and it's something you need to address. The reason why we have some of these expire is for two reasons. If things have changed in your practice, in this particular case, if things have changed in the procedures and how you need to notify of a breach have changed, then this gives you the opportunity to handle it and make sure that you've adjusted your written policy to make sure it's up to date with what's happening in your practice. The second thing this does, just as important, it reminds you that that written policy is in place, and it gives you that opportunity to make sure that if, in the rare occurrence that a breach occurs, you know you have a policy and you can reference it back to make the appropriate, to fulfill that obligation of the breach notifications that you would have that's according to your written policy. So there are a number of things that happen when you do finish, if you will, a checklist item. So now, just to show you what happens, if we finish up this one, you'll see it instantly turns green. We get that little dopamine hit, right? We get that hit that says, hey, we've accomplished something. Our goal really is to have everybody finish a check box a week. You finish a check box a week in a sense. So meaning a checkbox, a category, one of these areas a week. We estimate that within a year you will be fully compliant and all of your expirations will be staged and you can feel better about it. Now, we also know that we have overachievers that will want to get through this quickly. I would say pace yourself. Make sure that you're taking the appropriate steps. There's a lot of information in here, a lot of information to take in, and important information you want to make sure that you actually get right. Now, this is also really important. As you begin to clean things up, as you begin to become more compliant, more information will appear in some of these particular boxes as well. Let me give you a good example of that. So if we come over to business entities, you will see a couple of different things happening here. And in this particular, we're going to say that we have finished each of these elements. Okay, so as we finish each one, you'll see we're getting more and more and more compliant. Once all of them are complete, you'll see that we have some dates that now have appeared inside of these large slider progress bars. And that is, it tells you when the last item, when you finally completed that last one. So it just gives us that tidbit of information. But more importantly, it also tells you how long that it's valid until. So if one of these were more of a 6 month, renewal, if you will, or you had to look at it every 6 months, then this valid until date would be closer than the 1 year mark. And so it gives you that information to kind of let you know when you're going to have to handle some of these compliance issues under the business entity, or in this case, the business entity, over time. So that is also important to know. Now, notice some of these you're never going to have to do again. So if you've appropriately registered or you've appropriately have everything handled with your entity in this particular case, you're not going to have to do this again. Your articles of organization have been placed. You don't have to actually do that again. Once they've been placed in the appropriate location, then that expires. And that's why you won't see an expiration date in some of these items. And I mentioned that I would cover that. So hopefully that explains why. I'm just going to uncheck these for my purposes, if you will. But that is, in short, how all of this works. And as you walk through each one of these different components, you will see that it is as easy as it possibly could be. We believe that it's going to allow you to take the appropriate number of bites, if you will, and these things are important. Every once in a while, you're also going to see a note. And the notes are referenced in some of the checklist items. You will see that, like in this case, COVID and other communicable diseases, written policy that meets the standard precaution and provides protections against occupational exposure to infectious diseases. This one, it doesn't mean that the government requires that you have a written policy in these particular cases, but based on the information and knowledge that we have as the Illinois Chiropractic Society, we believe that it is critically important for you to have a written policy. So we've tagged these with a 1, and you'll see the note on each one of those pages that lays out exactly why we say that we believe that you need to have a written policy in these areas. Hopefully this gives you the walkthrough that you need, provides you the information that you need today to be able to begin to make progress, to walk through it. We're looking forward to adding more information and more details to Statusfi as we move along. And we hope that this is going to help you in your practice as well. As you find things, again, I would encourage you, please send an email to support@statusfi.com. dashboard.com, and we will put that on our fix. And hopefully, when we release this at convention time, that we will get it done. All the feedback, and also send out a survey. And we hope that you will return the survey and provide us with the information we need to make the product even better for you. Thanks so much again for being a beta tester, and let us know if you have any questions. Take care.